Thank you, Monsieur Gomar. Would anyone else like to take the floor? Mr. Zell, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I will speak in German. Wir sprechen ja heute über die Demokratie in Afrika.
We're talking about democracy in Africa. Several cases have been mentioned. It's a fact that democracy in Africa is at risk. Tanzania, Côte d'Ivoire, opposition politicians have been excluded from elections. Other people put into prison, Wellington Sar, for example, because they criticised the government. Or Kenya, Malawi, the elections had to be repeated. But obviously, we don't have to look at Africa just to find examples along these lines, because Marine Le Pen was excluded from the presidential elections just a few weeks ago in France as well, and members of my own party in Rhineland-Pfalz were no longer allowed to become officials, and that's probably against the constitution, which you tend to see in authoritarian regimes. In other words, democracy is at risk not only in Africa, here in Europe as well. Our free democratic constitutions are being threatened, not from the outside, but rather from the inside, as J.D. Vance stated quite clearly in Munich. The causes for this democratic backsliding in Europe are the excesses in national conservative parties, because left-wing parties are being voted out. But instead of accepting the situation, the left are looking for to stop a free transition of power. They claim they're saving democracy by actually doing away with democracy. That's the situation in Europe, and that's why I think we have to be very careful in how we criticise what's happening in Bamako, Kinshasa or Timbuktu. I think we have to look what's happening in Paris, Madrid and Berlin with democracy there. I think we need to look at our own homes before we look elsewhere.
Thank you. We have a little bit of time left, and I know that Michael Gahler obviously wants to take the floor again, so you kick off.
Thank you. I'll now stay in English. I mean, you just referred to Côte d'Ivoire and said you have been there, and we are paying 8 million for the elections. I mean, the main contestants are not allowed to stand. The former president, Gbagbo, is not allowed to stand. The former prime minister, Guillaume Soro, is not allowed to stand, and they removed and they don't reopen the electoral roll. And Tidjane Thiam is the leader of the country's largest opposition party. He's also not on the voters' roll, and they are not reopening it, contrary to all previous elections where they have done it. And they pretend he is not a citizen. He has been a minister in this country. And we stay taciturn, we stay silent on that. I insist. I mean, anyhow, in an election where the main contestants are not allowed to stand, we can, not finance it, and of course we could also not send an election observation mission, because we know the result in advance. So I really insist that no penny is paid, not a single cent is paid of these 8 million, unless all those who want to stand in the election are allowed to stand. I mean, who are we? We are the European Union. Yeah? And I insist that our ambassador on the ground, that she takes the floor and speaks out publicly. And it's not about our standards, it's about their own standards, that they apply their own legislation. I think that is a concrete point, and I don't know whether anybody else comes in on Tanzania. That can also be mentioned in these circumstances. I need not go into details, perhaps someone takes it up. There we have a similar situation, where the opposition leader is in jail. And our ambassador stays calm and silent. And one of our foreign ministers comes there and recently praises the situation. I think that is not acceptable. Then we should stop all standards and all pretensions that we have any values and so on. If the African countries afford not to apply their own legislation, that is the point. Thank you.